works. It says it's live. I'm gonna hit the intro. I'm gonna test the audio real quick. There we go. Okay, so we are live. All right. Allegedly, everything is working. Tommy, you still hear me there?
I'm still here. I still hear you clear as day.
All right, great. So today this is dropping in at Pipeline Audio, I think number 9. And today I have Tommy Gibbons. And for those of you guys who don't know, he's been like a super shredder dude since he's a little kid. I think he's played at NAMM a gajillion times. He's been in he's had tons of press ever since he was pretty young. I think I first saw him in the parking lot at Jughead's in Phoenix. I think you're 12 years old. I'm not sure. I think that was about right. And been shredding ever since. He's got pretty. Last time I saw, he had a really nice, big live room recording studio at their place in. I don't even know what they call it. Is that Tonopah or Peoria or Avondale? It's like they change the district names every little while.
I think technically this would be like Phoenix-Glendale, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's still, the studio is basically the same. I actually added a control room to it. I don't know if you saw the pictures or not.
I saw when you guys were building that up. That's awesome. But I mean, we did plenty of stuff where we're sitting there right in the room with the band, so that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. And I thought that was really neat.
So where are you right now? Are you in the compound studio thing?
I actually technically I am in there. I am in the studio right now. I'm just sitting on the couch, separate from the control room, right, like pretty close to the stage.
Oh, awesome. So let's see. So yeah, also me and Tommy's dad are herp nuts, so he's probably still got a pile of reptiles around that studio someplace, or at least the big turtles outside or something, right?
Yeah, we actually got rid of we had 2 giant horses. Those are gone now.
Oh.
So he has like a bunch of like smaller ones now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Let me So you've been doing guitar stuff since you were a little guy, and you had Coma, and then Tommy Gibbons project, and then you were playing. I mean, you played a lot of guest stuff. You were doing stuff with Head for a little while, right? Or what were you doing recently?
No, I tried out for Brian Head Welch. It just didn't work out because their drummer at the time was a good buddy of mine. But I was in a southern rock band called While She Waits for a bit, and then I did the country circuit for a while with Redneck Revolution, just doing like the Weekend Warrior stuff. Then I was with multi-platinum band Tantric for a bit. I'm actually on their new record, which is funny. And now I'm currently with Flaw, and that's been amazing. And new record should be out in spring, hopefully.
Awesome. And you guys were just on the Stephen Colbert show. Like, how did are you guys actually riding that van around, or what's going on with that thing?
No, the van was more of like a prop for the skit. We actually have a pretty nice sized bus that we tour in. But the van was mainly was just for like the skit, which was really that whole experience was great. It was surreal.
Oh, awesome.
We had a really good time. The staff was amazing. Colbert is actually featured in our music video, the song "Conquer This Climb," which is the single off the new record.
No, that's cool. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people saw that and like, man, he's really mean to him. I'm like, dude, if that was mean with enemies like that, you don't need friends, because there they are playing on primetime TV. So whatever. But yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't really know where people we've gotten some to make fun of the band, blah blah. I'm like, well, he's a comedian. What do you?
Yeah.
That you couldn't. I mean, put it to you simple. None of that was pre-made, or this wasn't, our label didn't buy the press for us. There was no, this was all organic. It just happened. We didn't even know about it until our Facebook started blowing up. We started getting
Oh,
random.
man.
We were in the middle of a tour. We had no idea what was going on, and we just see this clip of Colbert mentioning the GoFundMe on his show, because he was, just the whole thing was awesome. Like, I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
you couldn't pay for press like that.
No, exactly. All right, so let's see. What else do I have here? You're in Flaw right now, and then how did you end up in Flaw?
So the short version, Alex, who's their booking agent, gave me a call, hit me up, and was like, "Hey, I got a band. Do you want to try out for Flaw?" And I was like, "Hey, absolutely. I used to listen to them when I was a little kid, so absolutely, I would love to try out." And this was just fresh off of Tantric too. So he got me in touch with the singer Chris Walls. One thing led to another. Originally, here's a fun fact. I was actually supposed to be bass.
Oh, wow.
I was supposed to be the bass player, but Chris saw some video of me playing guitar, and he's like, "Man, I feel like that would be a complete waste
Awesome.
to end up on bass." So I ended up playing guitar for him, and then my first run with Flaw, the actual bass player quit in the middle of the run, so I ended up playing bass for like the first few runs. Anyway.
Wow. So you get one of those double necks with the bass and the guitar on it at the same time, right?
I should have. That would have been great.
And so, what is the other one? So what is Untether?
Untether is just like a side project. I grabbed a couple of musicians from Phoenix, Gavin Donnelly and Matthew Miller. And basically I love to stay busy. I can't, I can't just, come home from break and then take a break. That just doesn't work for me. I want to, basically Untether's something to keep me busy between tours with Flaw.
No, cool. And are you guys? You got so much. It's crazy how much resource you have to offer a band. You got your own gigantic practice place and live room to record in and stuff. So I hopefully people are respectful of that. It's really weird. Sometimes you can give people the world and they don't really take advantage of it, and sometimes they do. So
no, that's on them.
Around there.
Not to sound like a jerk, and that's not really my problem. I can only hand you the resources, up to you to use them.
Yeah.
If you don't, oh well, just get, at that point, get out of my way. Let me do my thing. You know what I mean?
Yep. And so who were, let's see, I know everybody wants to know like what your current ones are, but what were some past endorsements you had that you really, really, really liked? Really proud of? Actually, I'd be proud of them all, but
I was really into the crank amp stuff before the company went down. Like, I really liked the amps. I know some people kind of rag on them because, they were going around calling themselves a boogie killer, but they
were for a lot of bands, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I felt, I really like the crank stuff. Past endorsements, Jesus. I really miss the KXK guitars. I like those. I loved those. I mean, I know he's still around.
You had, I think, my dream guitar, right? They made you a neck through body 7-string scalloped KXK. Was that right?
Yeah.
Oh man, and it had like tiger looking wood or something on it. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you're the guy that got me into scallop frets. I mean, obviously and stuff, but I really. I really dig the scallop fret. I really like the fan frets though, more than the scallop. Especially I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. How do you play a fan fret? Like, do you get used to it, or what happens with that?
I mean, I think it's more like a mental thing. Like, don't let it psych you out. I didn't really. There was really no like adjustment period, really. But I really like the concept of it, because what it does is you're going from, especially on 8 strings, they work great. You're going from a really low, tension to high tension. You can really mess up the neck. So the fan frets really even it out nice.
Yeah, I did a couple of videos recently on scale length versus tension and stuff, and like the way that's one huge advantage I see with those fan frets. You don't have to put a bass string on your on your low string because you already got the right scale length for it, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I didn't really have a problem adjusting to it, and I don't think anyone
Oh,
should, especially if you just don't let it, psych you out. You know what I mean?
ah, okay. So what? Yeah, if is there no crank amps anymore?
As far as I know, I think he just does mods or whatever. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure you
good.
can special order one, but I'm not really sure. I don't think so.
No, okay. What do you have currently?
I've been playing Schecter guitars for a while, but I'm moving to another company, local company here called Bad Boy Guitars.
Oh, cool.
Uh, all handmade. Actually, if you check my Facebook, there's some pictures of them building me my own signature 7 string, which I'm super excited for. It's got the spalted maple on it.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Um, so we'll see what happens with that. I still play Swiss picks. I love
No,
them.
cool.
People can say what they want about them, but I've been using them for a long time, and you know, I love Swiss picks.
And
Uh,
and just for those you don't know, in Arizona they have the finest dust in the universe, and it's floating around everywhere, and it's blowing around all the time. Plus, it's 4,000 degrees, so holding on to a pick there, even if you're inside hanging out, is actually kind of difficult. So that Swiss picks thing actually makes some sense.
oh yeah, it's a great concept, and and if you look at the roster, there are all kinds of shredders using them. Rusty Cooley, and all those, just top notch players use them.
Oh wow.
It's like you can go ahead and if you want to keep being an amateur, go talk to Dunlap.
Oh, shots fired.
I'll keep firing them too.
So what are you playing for? Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to talk about that later. That's actually a good point. So I don't know if you remember one of our little super shredder girls was on the Steve Harvey show, and they ended up giving her a Schecter at the end of the show. She was over the moon about that.
Yeah.
Those are actually pretty nice. I have one sitting right here in the room. I'm looking at a 6-string neck through body one, and it wasn't really that much money, but and, everybody go check out those bad boy guitars. Okay, so I'm going through what people sent me. So you as far as Flaw, how do you guys write? Do you guys all kind of write your own stuff, bring them to the band, or do you guys write
Um,
together, or how often do you see each other?
no, okay. So the way we wrote this record was um I started coming up with these riffs. I would send them to Chris Walls, the singer. This record, I pretty much, other than vocals and lyrics, I wrote the guitar parts, drum parts. The producer helped with some of the bass stuff, but it was mainly Chris Walls and I really put this record together. Chris helped me with some of the arrangements too. That was really cool when he came to Phoenix to do some of the pre-production. Having a guy like that who's been in this business for 20 years, hearing having his input really helped me, not just for the Flaw record, but as a writer in general. And then working with Rick Lander, who's the producer of this record, that also opened up a whole, opened up a huge door for me. And I learned so much. And that's what I look forward to working with like producers or working with other artists is I'm all ears. I mean, I feel like the problems with a lot of musicians, and forgive me for saying, especially here, they tend to just block everything out and they want to go their own way, which whatever, that can only get you so far. You'll be selling tickets at Joe's Grotto for the rest of your career. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where me, I always, buddy of mine, the old bass player from Tantric, current bass player for Saving Abel, Scott Wilson, said this to me: if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yep.
And I've held that to heart. I always try to learn from everybody, always listen, which is really weird for a musician to say.
Yeah, but So sometimes, you know, especially when you hit a wall, getting another person involved is awesome. But if you can do it at the beginning, that's even better. Like, you know, there's some, you know how crazy I was about, you know, big, huge choruses, no matter what style the music was. And you guys got huge ones in that, you know, even on that one that was on the Colbert Show, you know, that's just one of those gigantic choruses. Like, I don't know, does the singer kind of come up with that and you write the whole thing around that, or how
No,
did that come out?
So Conquer This Time is actually a funny one. He came to Phoenix. We just got done watching a Caps game, a hockey game, and Chris is like, "Hey, what else do you got? You know, as far as pre-pro?" And I played him the Conquer This Climb riff, and just right there on the spot, he had the lyrics written. Just it was one of those just magic moments. Like it just happened.
Awesome.
You know, but you know, you definitely helped me out with that when it comes to like focusing on choruses. I remember that was a huge thing when we worked on that Coma record. I was still kind of young when it came to writing, and I didn't really understand the concept of choruses, which it's so funny thinking back at it. Like that's such a simple concept, you know, and you'll be amazed how many people still don't get it.
Yeah, as simple as it is, it's hard to get a good one though. I mean, like that one in Conquer This Climb, that's the thing. That's the big giant. Like you just hear it. You hear fireworks coming and everything else, you know. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't realize like it's all about that hook, you know. And I think honestly, this isn't me being biased or anything. Haha, no pun intended. I feel that Chris Vols is really it's one of the best writers when it comes to like writing choruses and whatnot. I mean, I kind of feel like that whole new metal era, despite people like to rag on it and stuff, they really knew how to add like that hook and that groove to metal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like the biggest, you know, like new metal guy, but man, when it comes to like choruses and like adding the element of groove to metal, oh man, that they were the kings.
Yeah.
You look at a band like Slipknot or a band like Korn, you know, they're still relevant even today.
Yep.
You know, and why is that? Because they just know how to make those simple choruses. And I remember most of you know, people need to realize like the majority people that listen to your music are relatively dumb or, you know, hamsters, you know, you gotta catch their attention quick.
Well, I've been lately. I've been listening to a lot of this. I don't even know what you call it, but it's this Norwegian and Swedish stuff. That's you know, it's comes from the same place where you got like Max Martin and all those super pop producers. But it's like it's like this metal, almost like power metal, but with the gent kind of mixed in. And then they got like these pop vocals. Like I don't know if you've seen like Amaranth. I think that's how you call it, Amaranth or something. They have all these like it's like a girl singing pop music on top of these crazy speed metal riffs and stuff, and I'm like, man, that's kind of and the choruses are huge.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing here. I mean, I feel like, you know, with rock and metal is evolving. I mean, if you listen to, they're adding a lot more production, a lot more like EDM stuff.
Yeah,
you know, and personally, I like if you take like the new Asking Alexandria record, you know that the production on that is insane. Or if you look like a Bring Me the Horizon, they almost have gone straight pop.
Yeah, and then like that's why around here I don't have a sequence system. I'm like, oh man, if I have to add something like that, what am I going to do? Because that's some skills. Like I know, you know, people think you just get Ableton Live and you play around for half an hour and you can make all these EDM things, but no, you can't. And especially when you try and stick it inside a modern metal production, like. Well, when you guys did the Solcata thing, I mean, there was a lot of electronica in there that was pretty tricky to get mixed in there. You know, like I don't know how you pulled that off. That's pretty crazy.
A lot of headache. I mean, that's the best way. I hate to say it. That's the best way I can describe that joke of a project.
But man, that's some catchy stuff. It's huge sounding, you know. So yeah. I mean, it turned out good. I still have that in like I have a mix I play over at the skate park. It's all Arizona stuff, and that's actually in there.
Oh, cool.
So let's see. So you're talking about how they write. So okay. So I mean, what most people are here to know is like, how do you guys record? And you told me a couple things that you know, there's just so many myths out there, and I spend 90% of my time on on the forums and everything else, just dealing with these audio myths and stuff. But yeah, let's hear about how you guys are recording.
Okay, well, I can tell you for this Flaw record, we grabbed a fractal Axe Effects, plugged that direct into an interface, and simple as that. Then when it comes to the guitars, I look at it like this. I'm not, of course I want to try to please everybody, but I'm not here to please those audiophiles, we used to call them.
Yeah.
They're not the ones buying my record. I'm here to please the fans. And I really highly doubt that the average Flaw fan or the average metalhead is going to sit there and go, God, this is a great record. But you know what? I really wish they used a real tube head to record those guitar tracks. I can almost promise you that they're not going to give a shit.
Yeah, and that's, I always tell you when people are talking about mic preamps and they're like, oh man, I can't decide whether to use this Neve or this Avalon or something mic preamp, and I go, the difference between those two preamps is not going to be the difference between a hit and a dud of a song, and a good guitar sound is a good guitar sound. I don't care what tubes or whatever's in there.
And that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to like the guitar tracks. I focus on the end result. If the end result's great, I don't care how we got there.
So with the fractals, are you guys using the? So everybody's gonna. I guarantee if I don't ask this, I'm gonna get beaten up. So are you using the analog outputs on the back, or are you using the SPDIF outputs? Because I think those are locked at 48K, right?
We just use
recording at 48K. So
we just use the analog outputs.
Okay.
Plug that directly in, and we do the same thing live. We don't. No, I haven't ran a cab live in years. Okay,
you guys hear that, and then listen back to that again, what he just said. So this is when I see people on the forums beating up on noobs because they're like, oh, how can I record my amp in my room? And you tell them, oh, you got to rent out all this stuff and put all these mics up and all this stuff. You're not going to beat an Impulse in your bedroom, unless you got a magical bedroom and a magical assortment of acoustic treatment and everything else. You're just not going to beat it. And so here you got guys that could use anything they wanted. They have all this gear, they have the rooms, they have the stuff, and they're using Impulses, and even on the road. So yeah, how in the world are you guys monitoring on the road? Are you trusting your sound man to put your guitar into your monitors to hear that way?
Yeah, I'll put you. So our setup, we have one rack that has 3 fractals, Chris's wireless mic, and I think like a rack tuner. We've been doing that for the past like 2 years, and we've had no issues.
Wow.
Because again, I'm going to go back to the same thing when making a record, same concept live. I'm playing these shows to make the audience happy. I'm not there to make the other guitar player happy. I'm not there to make the support act happy. I'm not there to make the other wannabe shredders happy. So in the end, I'm there to make the audience happy. And again, the average fan's not going to sit there and go, God, these guys are playing great, but I wish you had a real stack on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it sounds good, it gets the point across, I don't see what the problem is. Yep. I was one of those guys myself, oh, it's got to be a real tube head, full stack and everything. I was that guy. But when you think about the convenience of the fractals or like any preamp nowadays for touring, it's amazing. We literally one rack, we wheel that son of a bitch on stage. Sound guy gives us the cables, or plug them in, it's done.
Wow. See, for a smaller band, I don't know that they would trust the monitors, but they certainly could bring a full range flat response. Like for the stuff I've been doing lately on my website, that bringing the studio to the stage, I found these. Oh man, now I forget the name brand of it, but they're these little cabinets, little PAs. Alto. So mine is Alto TS210. They're made by a couple other people as well. The thing weighs less than 20 pounds. It's got more power than I've ever heard come out of a full stack, and it's a full range and flat response. So if you're playing a show here in Hawaii where you're not going to have monitors or be able to trust the guy running them, you could just plug this into the back of your fractal. You'd have your own full range flat response pointing right at you on stage, and they could worry about sending the rest of the stuff to the PA.
Yep.
And so So are you doing a lot of the engineering on the Flaw thing, like for the drums, or how are you guys doing the drum recordings?
No, the drums we actually recorded at the studio in Wisconsin. The board that they used was actually was used to record Appetite Destruction, so that was kind of cool.
Oh wow!
Um,
What board is that?
I, of course you'd ask me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get beat up if I don't ask. So,
Okay, so unfortunately, I don't remember what it was, but Matt, beat me up for it if you want. I don't give a shit. Matt LaPlante was the guy who tracked the drums, and he's doing all the mixing and editing and like all the comping and all that.
oh, cool. So, are you doing the drum recording for the Untether stuff?
Yeah, it's all done here at KMS, but I send that off to a guy named Zach Keel and Rick Lander. They handle like the mixing and all the editing and stuff as well.
So that Lander name, that guy doesn't have anything to do with that Lander service, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was gonna say, man, is that the guy? That'd be cool. What what's your favorite kick drum mic right now?
I would still say the Shure Beta.
So that's what I got sitting in my inside the one at the school right now. I bought one of those Kelly shoe things with the little shock mount because there's little kids running around in there kicking everything every day. So I have to have everything like mounted inside or to the drums. So I have a Beta 52 in there, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I really can't think of anything else. I mean, there's that AKG. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, the D112.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I have those too, but I'm not as happy with it. It's just not as meaty because all the super high and the super low that D112 puts out, everybody he beat me up, but I'm probably going to stick a sample on there that gives me that part of the sound. So I'm really looking more for the meat from the drum.
The natural kick, absolutely.
And so let's see. So you guys are you guys are recording the fractals into the interface, and I want to emphasize here, like these guys got everything they could use whatever they want, and when I tell people that a good signal path is a good signal path is a good signal path, yeah, what interface are you guys using?
Okay, I think the interface the interface was an Apollo.
Oh, okay, sure. So you are using a pretty high end interface, but
yeah,
so we know those work. And then so after the fractal, so I think you were saying you have the cabs in the fractal bypassed, and you're using the Rosen ones.
Rosen Digital, yeah. To me, when it comes to impulses, man, I've gotten great results with Rosen Digital.
And in case you guys want that sound, which exact Rosen are you using? Because they're going to go buy it right now. I guarantee there's going to be a couple people.
The Mesa oversized 412.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You got any of the other Rosens that you really like on there? Like if you got to stack two guitars or something?
The Buddha 212, man. Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think those guys have... I think they're still selling the Rosen ones, but some of the guys involved now have what is it called? 3 Sigma Audio, I think is the new company that they're also making impulses. So there's piles and piles and piles of, I mean that's an industry now, this impulse thing.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Long ago when I actually had a studio called Pipeline Audio, either me or Beam Sonic made the very first cabinet and impulse. I remember making one, and I put it out on IRC alongside with some third-party Drumagog drum samples I made, and Tommy will tell you, and his dad will tell you, I've never been good at business, so that I never actually did anything. I never knew it was going to turn into its own industry anyway. So, but it's awesome that people are doing that now. You can, you could fight your bedroom and try and find a way to record stuff in your room with gajillion dollars worth of mics and acoustic treatment and stuff, or you can just get online and go to one of these sites and just get the exact mic and cab combo that you were after in the first place. It's just awesome.
No, it's great. I mean, personally, I've been doing that for a long time, and the results are just so much better.
Yeah, and me too. Like, Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because again, what matters is the end result. You know, I mean, are you really going to sit there and tell me like, oh, I can really hear the difference?
Yeah.
Come on.
Or that it's even better. Like I better is subjective, but except for around here at the school, sometimes I'll show, like my brother was here not too long ago, and I showed them how we would used to phase multiple mics on a cabinet. But aside from that, aside from academic stuff, if I'm doing it, the only time I'm going to actually stick a mic in front of a cab is if the amp doesn't have its own line out, and even then, I'm probably going to try and do something else. I'll throw it in my ISO booth and put it in a one of those amplifier direct boxes or something. And I mean, I'm happier not worrying about that. I know there's some kind of magical something that people think is going to happen, that magical fairy dust is going to squirt out of the air if you mic a real amp, and then you'll have a hit record, and you'll be signed to a 1980s record deal in a music industry that doesn't exist anymore or something. But yeah, I ain't worried about that. What happens if you guys are on the road? I mean, does this ever happen? Do you guys end up going, oh, I just thought of a really cool song, and we need to do so? Do you guys ever end up writing on the road? And if you do, like, how do you just open up a phone and just record the basic idea? Like, I always worry, like, when people think they're going to lose some magical thing they had and didn't get it down fast enough.
No, I don't really say we do a lot of that, because by the time we finally we come to like a day off or something, we're pretty spent.
Oh yeah.
I try to do a lot of my writing while I'm here at home, as much as I can. Because when I'm on tour, man, that's my focus. But we do what we do though is, like, of course, me being a guitar player, I want to jam. We have those little battery powered Black Star amps, and I'll bring
cool.
that. And dude, the tone out of that thing, for what it is it's not bad.
Yeah, we have a TVP 260 or something that our kids used to play through, and I was like, wow, this is some pretty serious modeling going on in here. They messed up a couple of the functions, I would say. And that's a rant for a whole nother episode, but that is typical of guitar companies. They don't necessarily know how the end user is actually going to use their stuff, but that stuff sounds unreal. Like that Black Star is killer sounding. They're like, oh, where's the tubes? I'm like, dude, ain't about tubes or not tubes. It's about, does this thing sound good?
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, I'm starting to see this a lot more from bands. One of the ways that they promote is they'll get up on Ultimate Guitar and they will upload a tablature that the band wrote themselves, and then they'll do a playthrough video on YouTube or something of them playing through their songs. Have you guys have you heard of that? And have you guys ever thought of doing that kind of thing?
The other guitarist, Rob, and I have talked about doing something like that. It's just, it comes down to time, which with a band like Flaw, we toured 9 to 10 months out of the year.
Jeez.
It's really not a lot of time to do stuff like that.
Wow. And like I'm finding out, just to do even this basic broadcast, that capturing the video and the screen at the same time, it's not easy. So it is tricky, but I see that as a way that a lot of bands are promoting themselves. It's pretty neat, and it's a good idea. And man, the guys at Ultimate Guitar can sure put up a good fight, so that usually they'll keep a topic active for a very long time, whether they love it or hate it,
Yeah.
And so I guess the real big one that people, the reason for this show, really, because everybody was talking about it, and then I saw you mentioning it. There was a problem with Pledge Music specifically not distributing some stuff, and I know this kind of stuff is scary to talk about on the air, but in general, what does a company like Pledge do for a band?
Well, from what little I know, Pledge Music's a pre-order campaign. So, like, you can pre-order the record, but now here's some cool perks. You can pre-order the record, get a shirt, pre-order the record, get a signed, something, It helps with pre-orders. That's the big thing with Pledge.
Well, we're talking about hard goods, right? Not soft, not digital stuff for the most part, right?
Right.
Okay. So there's actual records or CD or whatever it is, some kind of physical product that these guys are gonna. So they would they're in charge of manufacturing it.
I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm going to say I don't think so. I think that's more up to us at that point.
Oh, so so people pre-order. You have the stuff manufactured. Okay, let me try and figure this out. So they're a company that accepts money ahead of time for an album or for a tour coming out. Like maybe you could pre-order shirts or something. Yes. And then when the time comes that you're supposed to fulfill, you guys send out the merchandise
I don't think us personally. I'm pretty sure like our label does that.
Okay.
But that one I'm not entirely sure. So that's actually a pretty good question.
So one of the ones I saw was there's a magazine or something called Variety, and they're saying that lately the company is struggling to pay the artists. So I know this was going on with Patreon too. Like I know Patreon was having a little bit of a problem, but I think those ones they brought themselves in as kind of more of a political thing. But maybe they had the money, but they weren't paying the YouTubers or whatever that were on Patreon. So what's the problem with Pledge? Is there it looks like what's happening with them is that the fans paid the company, and then when it came time for the company to pay the band or whoever, they couldn't, or they didn't, and then that puts the band in a bind because they need that money in order to make the products and send them out. Or even I see one band here that looks like they actually had all the products ready and stuff, and they were just going to send it out for free because they weren't going to get paid, but they didn't even have enough money to do the shipping.
Right.
So, yeah, ouch, man. I mean, and it's always expected that the band's going to eat it, just like it's always expected that the recording studio is going to eat it. And these guys are driving by in their BMW saying, "Oh, we didn't have enough cash flow, so we can't actually pay the bands this year or whatever." Like I'm watching these guys, these CEOs of these Silicon Valley companies talking about how they can't pay the artists the money that they collected on their behalf, and they drive to work in their Mercedes and they go home to their mansion. And they're like, "Huh, that's kind of strange."
I mean, that's kind of how this business has always been. But I think, like nowadays, personally, I think you could do a lot as a band, especially an independent band. There's a way you can make it without relying on a label, at least getting to a certain level.
Yeah.
And honestly, the way to do that is you got to be willing to invest. I think a problem with a lot of these bands is they want like handouts, they want shit for free. But especially nowadays, you invest in getting a good single, good producer, a good radio campaign, good PR, and then buy on some decent runs, you're on your way.
Oh, sorry. Are you guys? So I not that I've ever really listened to radio, but I didn't know that radio was still even a thing. Is it? So that's still.
I mean, satellite radio.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's a huge thing. Terrestrial radio still has its place, absolutely. But I mean, obviously, it's not as big as it used to be. But I feel like with satellite radio and like if you get on some good Spotify playlists, I mean, right now the resources that bands have is bigger than ever. Like you have no reason to. The only way that a band cannot make it, honestly, is if you're just damn lazy. And really, that's the truth.
Yeah, I see guys that take advantage of every promotional stream that they can, and then I've me and your dad used to watch these guys on YouTube or whatever. They would talk about various subjects, and I had no idea that these guys are making. Some of these guys just on YouTube are making enough money. I mean, they're paying their house payments and then some on YouTube, and they're putting on good informative shows. I mean, I'm not talking about these million subscriber makeup channels where they show you how to put eyelashes on. I mean, like science channels, just basic educational channels, and they're actually making some okay money. So I was surprised, and I've seen bands do the same thing. They're like, yeah, we tour a lot, but really we make most of our money on YouTube or Patreon or whatever. I'm like, I'm so like, there's never been a time like it used to be so pessimistic. Like, in fact, that's why I want to talk to you about other stuff like DistroKid. I hear a lot about DistroKid. I hear good and bad, but back in the day, and you saw it, you know it, you saw me try and do things, but at the end of the day, when you finished an album back in the day, you handed the band the master and you said good luck, and there was nothing more you could do. Nothing. And now, like, it seems like here you got these companies like DistroKid, and now it's not nothing. You can actually put it out in the same. I mean, what does a label even do today, right? I mean, like you're putting it out to directly compete with that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was my point earlier. Is there's a lot you can do if you put the work into it and the effort into it. You could do this on your own. I mean, yeah, with something like DistroKid, you pay $20 for the whole year and you keep your earnings. Like, come on,
Yeah.
that's now. There's I guarantee the people that are bitching about DistroKid haven't sold a goddamn thing. They're like, why isn't my song selling? Well, probably because you're not pushing it. That's where you need to invest in your own product. Push it to radio. Get a good PR campaign going. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and in fact, so I think that there's a new class of businessman that we need in the music industry. It might be a lawyer, it might not even be, but somebody who's actually an expert on something like DistroKid, because like I went and bought a label account for it. I have no idea because I have nothing to do with the creation of music, but I did anyway. And I figure if there's bands around here, I'll stick them on there or whatever. So I have slots for 5 bands or whatever. If I put stuff on there, I've seen people that use DistroKid, and there's some kind of like customization or something you can do. Like when they put a song out, it goes to all these different websites and does all this really cool stuff, and they does all this promotion and stuff. And like I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to customize the band's DistroKid links and all that stuff, but it did the automatic stuff for me, and it did it perfect, like instantly. But I've seen that there's so many more levels of stuff that you can do, and most bands aren't going to know how to do that. And it would really be cool. I mean, this is a business opportunity for you. If back in the day you had A&R guys or managers or whatever, today if you could manage a band's DistroKid accounts, I mean, geez, that's huge. And not just DistroKid, but like their YouTube and everything else, but manage their stuff. I mean, because I don't understand. Like, I couldn't even find a way to email DistroKid when I was having a problem with something. Like, it took me forever to find a support email. So I know there's some growing pains on that kind of stuff and teething pains. So I was having some trouble with the basic stuff, and I don't understand it, but it looks to me like it's working. And I actually do have a little bit of change come every month from something somebody else did because of that team pay thing. That team pay is amazing. Like it automatically splits the payment between different DistroKid accounts.
Yeah.
So are you using one of these services, or just you have a manager that puts your stuff on Spotify or whatever for you?
Yeah, like even for both Flaw and Untethered. Flaw has Pavement, which is our record label. They handle that stuff, and then for Untether, my producer Rick Lander, it helps me with a lot of that stuff. So I'm blessed to have somebody kind of handle that kind of thing for me.
No, see, and you got to know it. I mean, like, so do you know anybody that's using DistroKid with good luck, good success?
I think currently Sean from a band called Swampy Soul that we tour with, I'm pretty sure he's using, because he was the one that was like really like bragging about it.
Yeah.
And,
if he is, tell him to get a hold of me, because I want to have a whole show just about DistroKid. I'm trying to find some guys that have label accounts and ones that are artists that are doing good with that. And speaking of which, Terry's son Wade, like he's a musician, right? Like I thought I saw some stuff on Facebook.
He's fucking American Idol, man. He got the golden ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh shoot, hold on, sorry, I got somebody in one second. That's what That's what happens when you're trying to do this when you're running a music school at the same time. But okay, so yeah, I'm really interested in the distro kid stuff, but also the okay, so for the pledge thing, that that wasn't the only company I heard this happening with. I mean, that seems like this is kind of a epidemic. Like you get these investors to really buy in, and you get this huge thing that grows really fast, and then it seems like the guys who are supposed to get paid don't end up going. What's the? I'm sure if any Flaw fans are listening, what's the what do you have to tell them something? Is there a current status they need to be updated on, or are they all set now?
Well, right now I can say that we our label Pavement is hosting a pre-order campaign directly to our labels, so there's that.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
Unfortunately, as far as like the whole pledge thing goes, anyone who did make a purchase on pledge, you have to deal with it straight to your bank because we have no control of it. Our label has no control of it, and then the fact that Pledge Music filed bankruptcy,
Oh, geez.
yeah. So unfortunately, it's kind of like really nothing. Our hands are tied. Like there's nothing we can really do.
And so if you're a band, like, I mean, at your guys' level, this is mostly a management kind of decision up higher or something. But
Right.
if you're a band right now and you want to get in on this kind of thing, like, is there a way to do this yourself instead of getting one? I mean, it's great to have these third party companies if it works, but I mean, can you just stick like a PayPal button on your website or something like, or is pre-order? Yeah.
I mean, I guess hypothetically you could. I think that's a tough one. As far as like pre-order stuff goes, I mean, for a newer band, I don't think newer bands are really at that level where they can like, hey, you want to pre-order our shit? Because no one knows really
exactly
who the fuck you are. I think for like newer bands, if I can give any advice, is again, you just need to invest in yourself. Like start off by hiring a producer, and I mean this, like hire a producer, even if it's not an engineer per se, but an outside ear. Like you can blatantly hear a difference still, even to this day, between like I recorded in my mom's basement to I hired a producer and went to a real studio. Now when I say go to a real studio, I'm not saying gotta go to this studio with a big giant board and tons of onboard gear, but just a guy that knows what a good song is,
And I would say that I would take a good producer in your mom's basement over not a producer at a fully pro studio any day.
Exactly.
Having been there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that would be, for any newer bands coming out, that would be the first thing. Like invest in a good producer and get a good single out there. I mean, we're in the day now where you don't really need to do a full-length record. I feel like if you just do like a single or like an EP and then set some money aside and push a radio campaign, whether it's for satellite radio or terrestrial, doesn't matter, but and push to get on the Spotify playlist for sure.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm seeing, bands, engineers, everybody has to deal with silly old myths. And one of the ones I see that bands are getting nailed on all the time is that older people around them are telling them, oh no, don't put this song out on YouTube. Don't do this. You got to wait till you have a record. And I'm like, what's a record? Like, I don't think most people even know what a record is. Like, why are you waiting on that? You got a good song, put it out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is still a thing. I mean, for a band like Flaw, they've been around a lot longer. So CDs are still a thing at shows. But I mean, most people even buy our CDs or buy our vinyls. They have a sign it, and it's now a collector's item on their wall.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Which that's great, but for like I said, for a newer up and coming band, I just feel like you need to invest. Don't the day of a record label scout's gonna come see me at fucking the Club Red and gonna sign us. I highly doubt that's ever gonna happen.
So speaking of which, so is there really a Club Red still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So Club Red,
what's still around?
Club Red, Joe's Grotto, Marquee Theater. Still, Marquee Theater is bigger than ever.
Oh wow.
There's a bunch of new places now, like the Van Buren, Starlight Lounge. When it comes to venues, we're definitely not a shortage of venues.
Oh, good. Okay, what else we got here? So one of the big ones, you know, when I had those, I don't know if you remember, I had those like little kid bands, like they're 8 years old. They ended up opening for Jack White, you know, at the end. But one of the biggest days of their lives, you know, because I was always hammering on. It looked like Full Metal Jacket around here until they kind of figured out what they're doing to themselves. But one of the most important days they ever had as a band was when your dad got over Skype and gave him some band etiquette advice. And man, I tell you from watching these videos on YouTube and stuff, it seems like bands, you know, I mean, you're supposed to be rebellious and crazy and stuff, but there is a behavior, especially when you're a little band opening for a big band, that you kind of want to have on stage. So what kind of band etiquette advice do you have for bands?
For like up and coming bands, or
Yeah, up and coming bands.
Etiquette.
Because let me tell you what they see that their friends that, you know, especially here in Hawaii where a lot of their friends own mansions and you know, fleets of their own cars and stuff. They see this band, you know, who has all the money in the world to spare. They go up on stage, they take their guitar and they break the mirrors at the bar and generally just make a huge mess of themselves and make trouble and kind of ruin it for everybody else. And then they say, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go on stage and take forever to get up there and leave our junk feeding back and break everything and make it hard for the next band and, you know, torture the fans. So, you know, that's a lot of what young bands see as the behavior they're supposed to emulate. But I think when you get out there on the road, especially in the mainland and stuff, that's probably not going to fly.
Well, no, I don't hopefully not. I mean, honestly, I never really ran into a situation like that. I think majority of, like, especially like when we play, majority of local openers are pretty respectful. You know, I mean, you get the occasional, you know, whiner. You know, why do they get to keep their gear on stage and we don't get enough space? But I never really ran into that problem.
No. But I remember a big one with your dad was bands that either took too long to get on or too long to get off the stage, because that would kind of back everybody up. You know, that was that's like a train wreck.
Yeah, that's still a little bit of a problem. It's like, you know, if you're the drummer, don't fucking start tearing down your cymbals. Get your shit outside first, then take your shit down.
It's funny that's the example you give, because there's another expat from Arizona living here, and we both remember the same band when they're supposed to clear the stage and getting on. The drummer would take his cymbals off, then polish them, then put them in the bag, and that was how it went.
You know, once your 30 minutes is up, it's up. You'll get the fuck off. You know. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just the truth. And, you know, like, you got the guitar player, you know, asking his girlfriend, how did I sound? You know, ask her when you're done tearing down your shit. You know what I mean? But honestly, I never really, I mean, I guess for any, like, up and coming band, just know your, you know, don't over glamorize yourself. Know your place. I guess. I mean, I honestly have never really ran into that issue, though.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good if we're seeing. I mean, you know, the thing
too,
about.
I think the biggest thing with me too is I just don't really care enough to worry about that. I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't.
Well, you know, there may be that magnifying glass effect where the YouTube compilations of really horrifically behaving bands may just be the very worst of them out there, and they do make the views because they were the outlier, and the normal band out there is no longer the entitled crazy bands that we used to have to deal with back in the day.
I mean, I think there's still some of that, like the entitlement, yeah, for sure. I mean, but I haven't really seen it.
No, that's really good. That's encouraging news. Like, you know, you hear bad news all day long. That's actually good news.
But again, though, coming from me, it's not really a good, because I don't mean this in a dickish way. I just don't give a shit enough to really pay attention to that. Like, after doing sound, after getting the venue at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and doing an hour sound check, the last thing I'm going to really think about is, oh, I can't wait to check out these opening bands.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some nights where I do, absolutely, and there's some nights where bands, the openers freaking kill it. But I don't really have time to worry about like the politics side of it or what are they acting like? Because it just, at the end, it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
It's same thing kind of goes for like, here too, at my own hometown. I don't really care enough to hear about the local drama or who this band or that band. I got my own shit to really worry about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember one of the big things about what your dad was talking about was, just making sure that, you understand that if you're a small band and you're playing a bar, that the bar's job is to sell drinks. And by extension, you as the band there is your job is to, sell drinks. So don't make it so that people don't want to stay in there and buy drinks, and it was really neat how your dad looked at it from the top down, like this is the, this is the end goal.
Right. And unfortunately, a lot of musicians don't think about that kind of thing. Like a lot of them just like, expect a crowd there, or expect the promoter to do the work. And it's like, you got to do your part too, even a band like Flaw or even National Acts, they still do their part promoting. They post it on their Facebook event page or other social media outlets, their bands in town and stuff. So everyone has to do their part. It's like and I think a lot of bands, it's funny how it's mainly like local or up and coming bands have this weird thing in their mind, like, oh, if we have a good promoter and a good venue, the crowd will already be there. That's not the case.
Yeah, so you guys, you're even at your guys' level, you're still hitting the pavement a little bit to get the word out.
I mean, of course, absolutely. Like, we still promote the shows coming up. We still promote a run coming up. I mean, how else are people going to know what we're doing?
And how are you guys promoting it?
We do we have those like Facebook event pages for each individual show. We'll promote the tour flyer. I mean, I guess for a national act, I guess it is a little bit easier when it comes to promoting stuff. But we still have to hustle, of course, because we want to crowd there,
Do you guys do the social media posts yourselves, or do you have an agent that handles that kind of stuff?
No, we run
that event stuff is tricky.
We run our own social media, and personally, I think that's better.
I
mean, I don't know. I don't see why a band wouldn't run their own social media. I guess if you're like huge, then you don't need to. But
my thing is like you just saw, like I schedule a YouTube live event, but then if I go on there early to pre-check the thing, and even if I don't say start the broadcast now, then it's it automatically starts anyway, and so like those Facebook events thing, they're tricky to me. And oh man, I don't know if you've seen this lately, but it's been driving me nuts. Like every time I do a Facebook live event, and it's mostly like I'm recording a snare drum and I just applying EQ to a snare. They got those algorithms on there. So like Universal Music Group goes on there and claims that that's their song, and they copyright infringing. It's been driving me nuts. So like these Facebook live events are tricky for me to do as well. But so you set up like the event for like a show's coming up or whatever. You do the Facebook event thing. Is that?
Yeah, I don't personally do them. I think either Chris or one of the Street Team members does it, but I know like we definitely monitor it,
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the posts and stuff, that's all us.
Yeah, and that's that's something like, man, I wish when I was growing up and I was hearing about bands, I wish I could have interacted with bands in that way. And I know some bands don't like interacting with their fans, but man, I tell you, I would be loyal for life if a band I liked was talking back to me on one of these things. So, for you guys that decide not to do that, that's it. That's your funeral.
Right. I think especially nowadays, fans almost expect it.
Uh,
You know, I kind of I'm not saying fans are entitled by any means. What I'm saying is like, you know, now we're doing like the exclusive VIP packages where you can have a one-on-one with the band and stuff like that. A lot of bands are doing that now.
no, man, that's cool. I saw the guy from the Misfits doing it.
Yeah,
Like
everyone's
with
doing
photos and
Metallica
stuff.
does it. You know, everyone's doing that. You know, the whole VIP thing, which I think it's pretty cool. You know, because you get to like, you know, I would have loved to meet my favorite band. You know,
Yeah.
so
Or even have them say hi to you on Facebook. That's a big deal. You know, it would have been to me. Like back then, you waited months to hear any news about what a band was doing. You know, back snail mail days.
right.
Let's see. But so that's another thing. Like your DistroKid manager guy. Like if you had a social media manager that handled all. Like I'm telling you, like there's a lot of people that want to be in music, but they're not musicians. And this is, you know, aside from being a C++ programmer, which, by the way, like to me, that's the most ultimate calling out there. So if you know any C++ programmers out there that need to make some money, let me know. But, you know, as a social media promoter for a band, or, you know, there's always been those ancillary things, photographer, shirt maker, whatever. But I'm telling you that there is a huge need right now for somebody who can actually handle all this YouTube and everything else for a band. I mean, or several bands. You know, I would love to see that.
I'm pretty sure there is already a market that does that, or a group that does. I don't know on top of my head, but I mean, that's
I'm
kind
sure
of.
I know there's SEO type people. You know,
I'm pretty sure that's what they'll like. You know, I mean, like you were saying, like when you hire a band manager, that's pretty much what they need to do. You know.
yeah, but most of the guys who are good at being band managers were born before a lot of this stuff was even a thing. You know, so I mean, it's tricky. Like, you know, you look at me, like I'm no stranger to software, and I got into computers for music at a time when everybody was saying, "Oh, we'll never use computers for music," and then even after people started, they're saying, "Oh no, that's all crap if you do it on a computer." I've always been computer savvy somewhat, but it's hard for me, and so I imagine like for people who are scared of computers, it's even worse. So I'd like to see more people step up as that kind of thing. But okay, so one of the things I remember. Man, what were you guys in Florida or something? And the axle broke off of one of your van. This is back in like Acoma days or something. Like, and it was hardcore. So people were asking
That was Louisiana. That was years ago. Oh my god. Yeah.
So people were asking about road advice, like because especially bands from here, like they put some money together and then they go and try and do a tour on the mainland. And I'm like, you know, it's going to be hard for you to find a working van someplace that you can just buy outright and get out there, I would think. But I mean, what do you do for a small band if you're going to fly out to California or more likely Oregon and try and go around the country? Like, what's some road advice you can give to bands?
Man,
putting you on the spot for stuff you weren't ready for at all. Yeah, I know, but this was a question people were asking.
I mean, do we have time? Do you have you ready for a novel?
Oh man,
road advice. You know, oh man, this is a tricky one. For me, when it comes to touring, you know, be ready to live. You know, not uncomfortable, because I mean with Flaw I'm pretty comfortable, but see for me this is hard for me to give this road advice to, because I personally love the road that much. I love the chaotic lifestyle, and I like that. I love that stuff. So I mean, you're asking me to give road advice to a band, like are you talking about like bands that like, you know, that wanting to go on the road, or they're just doing it because they have to do it, you know what I mean? Because that's a whole
they want
thing.
to.
Right.
That's their dream. Their dream was to see all these people that they've been talking to for years, but they've never met before, and to go around the country and just play and know that it's going to cost them a fortune, but at the same time try not to cost too many fortunes. You know, they might get to do it once in their life. You know.
Yeah, I mean, get used to truck stops. That's an advice. You know what I mean? Don't over glamorize it. You know, like I think a lot of people when they hear going on tour, they think like, oh, nice fancy bus and playing in front of all these people. and I get a hotel every night. No, you don't. Budget is a big one. Make sure you budget. That's the biggest one, I think.
Yeah.
But
And then like something like,
that's such a tricky question. Like I can't just
yeah, I know there's a lot to it.
Because it's like, again, it's one of those things you can't really, I can't explain it to you until you have to live it. You really do. And that's when you'll know if you want to do this shit or not. I can paint the picture all I want, but I'm doing it. I'm painting this picture on my perspective, and you're talking to a guy that really loves the tour life, that really enjoys it. You know,
yeah, I know lots of people who do it that do not enjoy it, but they do it because they have to. That's got to be hard. Like for me, I can't travel hardly at all, so I know that wouldn't be fun for me. But these guys want to do it, so like like how in the world you there's so many things you got to think about. But I think to me, like watching your life, there's only so much you can plan for, and you have to have enough flexibility to take the punches when they come that you just weren't expecting in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah, like I mean, you got to expect the expect the unexpected. Shit's gonna break down. It's gonna be you got to think about, you're in a tight space with 4 or 5 other people.
Yeah.
There's gonna be tension. I think I can say for like an independent band, I would just say get like a van. Don't really worry about a nice bus or anything. And don't one thing, don't I think RVs are the worst thing for touring.
Oh wow.
Well, and I'll tell you why. Because when you think about people that buy an RV, they sit in a garage for a majority of the time. And they go out maybe once or twice a year. You know what I mean? They're meant for vacations. RVs are not really meant for like those long mile, like all those drives and the constant on and off and going, so this is just a personal opinion, though. I mean, I don't think RVs are not good for touring. I'd rather tour with a van because a van's reliable, can handle the long mileages and all that stuff. Or conversion
and
bus.
The parts are available.
Exactly. I just
at Checker.
Yeah, I just don't think RVs are. I can get like comfort wise, yeah, but in the end, I think you're gonna spend more money, and it's just more of a pain in the ass.
So how did you, when you guys used to go out in vans, what were you guys doing? Like were there seats in the back of the van, or how did you, because you guys were moving around some equipment too, right? Back in
we towed
or whatever.
No, we towed a trailer.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the trailer. And the vans that I like are the ones that have the bench seats. Everyone gets a bench. There you go.
Ah. How many, so like a regular, like I think your dad had the triple R vans, right? Like were they like that size? Was that the kind of van?
No, the one like my dad used just had like this big storage part in the back, and then there's 2 seats up front. And I think one of them had a back seat. I don't really remember. But touring is going to be a little uncomfortable for a newer band. You got to you got to do it. Because touring is one of those things you have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to make it in this business.
All right, and I guess the last thing I got here is so where are people gonna find you right now? So you got Flaw and yeah, I guess tell everybody where they can see what you're up to and who they can go to for your your endorsers and stuff.
There's this awesome new invention. It's called Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. Flaw's got their own Facebook too, if you want to check the show dates and everything, all that good stuff. So we're on all the social media outlets and everything.
So if they want to follow you on Instagram, what are they following?
The Flaw Instagram is Flaw. I think it's like _502, and then my personal Instagram is Super Shredder Tommy Gibbons.
All right, you guys heard that. And what else do you have to promote right now? What are you working on? So you got Untether. So let them know about Untether for sure.
Actually, I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks, we'll have our first original out, video and all. So stay tuned for that.
Cool.
And then of course the new Flaw record I can't wait, and it's gonna be a banger for sure.
And for those of you that will buy it because it was impulses, and those of you who won't buy it because it was impulses, that's pretty ringing endorsement right there. And just worry about whether it sounds good or not. That's what matters. You
Absolutely.
guys and your tweed addiction. You got anything else you need to promote right now?
That's pretty much it, man.
So Bad Boy Guitars, they can find that on Facebook and Google and whatever else.
Yeah, and look up Swiss Picks. I promise you won't regret it.
Swiss Picks, and all right. Well, I think that's pretty good. I got a little bit more than an hour out of you, and that is awesome. And it's cool to talk to you. And I've got a whole bunch more stuff coming up, and especially a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about. Mostly as the more on the gear side. I'm always involved in that software and hardware stuff. But thanks a billion for being on here, and I will I'll let you know as soon as this goes up on the podcast and whatever. So I'm gonna put everything on the show notes. So I'll be asking you later about what I should put in the show notes. But I guess that's it for this one. And thanks a million for being on here, Tommy. And I guess say bye to all the Flaw fans out there.
Bye, guys. And hey, thanks for having me on here. It was a lot of fun.
All right, thanks for being on, and I'm gonna hang it up now. All right.